and um, very boisterous. I keep that stuff private, and the ladies in this call, of course, know. Oh, it's mute. The ladies in this call know that the frustrations that I have and or stream, I should say, that know my personal frustrations, but none of that will really I I believe need to be aired out on Twitter. Um,
Mhm.
Guess what? I send out requests for entire reschedules on day 1 of competition.
Mhm.
All of them. The entire thing. Guess what I don't get back? Responses. Guess what
Mhm.
I don't do? Bitch about it on Twitter. One of which was a closer friend in this space. Great person. Didn't respond, which is fine. I am not mad about it. But I didn't go to Twitter and complain about it. What? Because why? What is that going to solve? Um,
Mhm.
Also, reschedules are going to spam, which is not NACE's fault. It's not the platform's fault. It's our university's fault. So it is highly possible that they could have went to spam. And there is
Mhm.
no perfect answer on communication. Some people use Discord. Some people use email. Um,
Mhm.
all of us are pretty deep into the ecosystem here. So we all use Discord, but there are a lot of coaches and directors and staff members who are supporting these teams who aren't using Discord. So Discord isn't the most effective way to communicate with them. Twitter would also echo certainly not the best way. So
Well,
um,
and also sometimes um people don't contact the right person. Like I've
oh yeah,
literally had my JV Rocket League team say, "Why do I keep getting reschedule requests for the varsity team?" And it's like the roster is all there, their information is all there, and they're complaining about not, a reschedule or um I think this may be hilarious to some people. I mean, I find it incredibly hilarious. But the best reschedule request that we had was the day before, and one team said, uh, "My boys forgot that this was St. Patrick's Day weekend. Can we move the game?"
no.
Um,
First of all,
well, first of all, not a valid reason to reschedule at
no.
all. But second, um, why am I getting and my team DM'd me this and they're like, this is hilarious. And I'm like, yep, that's life. That's what it is. But yeah. Yeah, but that wasn't like, hey, we're a club team and we can't get like the difference I see with club teams typically is that we don't get excused absences for classes or for assignments, which to me, okay, like that is, typically, and we try to be super accommodating, but we've had several teams in the past be extremely toxic and rude, and directors be extremely toxic and rude to my players. And I tell them, I'm like, we're going to be the bigger people. We're going to be, the classy ones. However, if they don't give you a valid reason and it's, huge pain in the what, it's okay to say no. This doesn't work for us. You should have asked us sooner. Like, unless it's a family emergency or like an actual emergency situation, it's okay to be like, no. Like, so people out there, if you're being rude and toxic to, students or other directors, and it might be a long shot for a reschedule, maybe consider if any of the recent behavior was a reasoning for that.
And to be clear, I'm pretty sure most people watching this stream aren't the people that we're trying to change.
Yeah.
I think that they are part of the solution and not part of the problem. But it's just interesting to me. But side note, your kids don't get excused from competition? From class for competition, Katie?
No, no, no. Mind you, I'm saying the
Okay.
issue we've had with playing against club rosters is that they they might say, hey, we have a late lab on Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever, default day or something. And they can't have, like, their school doesn't give them excused absences for, like, club because they're a
Oh,
club
yeah.
team.
Well, I
So
mean,
it's not on us. It's that they're trying to be like a reasonable reason why a reschedule might be frustrating is
yeah,
like we have excused absences and we're planning on default, but we have other availability and they can't
yeah.
accommodate because of like actually a legitimate reason is like what I'm getting at.
That's rather frustrating because I'm not gonna lie. Well, I think again, anyone watching this at live, we'll see later if they watch. I'm pretty sure we haven't had any spicy tweets in response to um anything we post, and that's the day we know we made it when that happens, ladies. Anyway, um, interesting to me because literally we're coaches. I keep saying this, directors, coaches. You know what we coach? Student, athlete. So what comes before athlete?
Is it the game that I play?
Right.
Because that's more important than
But
anything else, Danielle?
But the point is, if I am competing against you, Katie, and my team, and you tell me that your students have class, and let's say it doesn't work, and we communicate, and I'm like, "Hey, sorry, I really my kids have class on this day. I can't make it work." If
Mhm.
I didn't have any, like, it is my job to also support those other
Mhm.
programs, because the buy-in of those public schools, most public schools, isn't there yet. Um, yes, you 2 are public, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not. So, most of those public schools, the buy-in isn't there. So, can we at least be different and support them because their administration doesn't yet? They will in time, but can we just do that and support them and make maybe be like, "Hey, they are able to compete because they have this person, but their school doesn't honor them and doesn't give them an absent, but they're actually trying to go to school and not skip class to play a game?" Let's think about that for just 2 seconds. Like, just take
Mhm.
a minute. But, yeah, so I think we need to transition though, because I think we could talk about Twitter all day because
Mhm.
it's a po yeah. It's a point of contention. So, let's talk about the task at hand, all women teams, ladies. So, I mean, it's a good intention. So, what are our feeling? What do we think? Do we think that this is a solution? Do we think this is harmful? Um, do we think that I don't want to use the word segregating, but uh,
Pushing us back, maybe
mimicking
not the right direction, yeah.
Right, mimicking traditional sports and separating people by, uh, gender is the right move because don't. I mean, we talked Sarah and I talked about this last week, just for those that were clear. Once we were off camera, we had a great conversation, we weren't mad at each other, it just I got really passionate and was like, I should probably stop myself and not expose my entire thinking on a stream." Um, so, because sometimes when I get passionate, will not always say the correct thing or say bad words. So, anyway, and since
We
this
did
is a
get a lot of good positive feedback though on last week's stream
Mhm.
saying that it was like a really good one because I think it shows that we even us internally, even us, like we have different ideas and different perspectives and different approaches, yet I think the end goal is still the same for all of us. So I think it shows that we're able to sit here and have discourse and have conversation, even if we think of the ways to get there, even if we think that those are different from each other. I think we're still open and available to like hearing what the other person has to say and like taking into consideration those other options and opportunities. And also, I'm sorry that my internet just took a dump.
It's okay. I mean,
Side note.
those are like they're like basic, communication skills that somehow we are all starting to lack. not esports, just everybody, and we could have this whole conversation that it has to do with, I believe, social media and phones, and people don't
Mm-hmm.
do face-to-face conversations. I prefer not to text our entire conversation because, first of all, you don't know my tone. I am not always good at writing what I think, and when I get frustrated, I just get shorthanded, and then it pisses people off. When really you could just have a conversation with me and it'll be over faster. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I I like different perspectives, and my feelings on an all women's team is probably going to align with Jackie because we've talked about this more than once. That I don't like the idea. I do, like we talked about, I do like the idea of for middle school, and maybe even if the intention is you're going to have an all women's team and promote young girls to coming to see them, um, to have mentors and icons that they can look up to and be like, hey, this is what this person accomplished. I'm going to do it too. I like the idea of that. Um, I don't think there needs to be a separation between um, gender because within traditional sports, you have a physical difference. There is not a physical difference in esports. You don't have to be. Roommate's a male, and I'm 10 times better at video games than he is. Um, So, I get that, and we're not competing on esports teams, but, I mean, I'm in charge of one. Well, I think you're just proving I'm sorry to the men watching this. You're just proving you're saying that men, male identifying people are better at video games than women. This is what we fight against our whole lives, and this is what I'm talking about when I said I watched that media show is we're literally showing men, young men that young boys, not men, young boys that they're better at this because there's a separation. So they can't compete in the same girls can't compete in the same league because I'm better than you because I was a boy and I play video games because that's what boys do and they play video games and play Legos and play in the dirt and ride bikes and dirt bike and I digress, but it doesn't make sense. I realize maybe the intention is there to try to promote it, but it's almost like, "Hey, there's no women in gaming. So let's create a league because that'll bring them in."
A lot of women have different. A lot of women in the space, like content creators, a lot of ones that belong to pro orgs. They have a lot of different takes on it. Some are very much stop segregating, and others are very much, yeah, let's kind of show them what we can do. So you're gonna get around the horn. I mean, in high school, there are all girls schools and all boys, by sex, all girls and all boys schools. So from a again, sex, not gender. Gender is a social construct. But from that, those are schools that exist in the high school space. So if there are going to be those sorts of tournaments or teams, kind of like Danielle was alluding to, like maybe it's an age thing. But on the same token, some people argue for, okay, well, what's the benefit of going to a same-sex school when if you're going to go to, a college that's not that way, or if you're going to go into the workforce that is not that way, or the world that is not that way, what's the benefit? And there has not been enough research, period, that would disprove a lot of the men are better at video games than women. I've done research demonstrating the benefits of games and various different skill sets, none of which had gender as a factor that was an influence. So there you go. It was whether or not you were a gamer or you were self-described as a gamer or a non-gamer. So there's that. But there really isn't a lot of quantitative research. Not that a lot of people would listen to research anyway, because there's plenty of research to suggest that video games don't cause violence, but we all know how a lot of people feel on that. So, but just
and
to
then they danced.
Yeah. So
have you seen Footloose?
I wonder if it would work
Yes.
if they did it, like, if these tournaments did an invite, like, we're gonna have this all women's, we're gonna have this tournament, and then we're gonna select the teams. And if instead of having it be just all women, an all women team can come in, if that would work. I don't know if that's the way to do it, but instead of being just an all women tournament, make it so that they're selecting the teams. Have people can just everyone sign up, and then if you want to make it all women, here are 15 teams that signed up for it that way. I know that doesn't work for promotional purposes because people like to promote.
Yeah.
But
honestly, I can see both sides. Like, I can play devil's advocate and see that maybe. So, like, we're talking about the pocket of collegiate esports, and we have built these core groups of people that are very supportive and are promoting us and want change. But there are plenty of people that aren't going to listen to us or recognize this. So if we're looking at it from a different aspect, if you look outside of that before this core group, and I look at just how different people play, I think that I played certain games with, again, another core group of people that supported me because I knew that I wasn't going to get judged because I was a woman. But so maybe that's what it is. They're more of like trying to avoid the toxicity. But then again, like, we could boil it down to then why don't we have repercussions for that behavior? What was it that Valorant player overseas that we just never got to talk about, and that or is an all boys team that disguised their voices as women.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all what it translated, so some of it was difficult, but basically, like, they were literally attacked. And so these are public lobbies, and one of the core examples I keep teaching to younger people that come to any of my camps does not have to do with men and women. It actually has to do with young children, like young boys hopping into lobbies and then them literally being attacked or being talked to because their parents aren't watching or whatever. And instead of people just muting that child, they then proceed to attack them. And this is learned behavior. Therefore, as they get older, they will learn to do the same thing that you did to them. So I like, this is like a much bigger conversation than just one stream, about should we solve things for children and things like that. But I can see where having an all women's tournament causes a safe space for people. But I would like venture to say maybe they maybe there's a tournament that's for marginalized voices and allies. And that's your phrasing versus, because that doesn't really exclude people. But that promotes people. I think the verbiage promotes people coming to that place, and it's more inclusive and instead of exclusive.
I love that because I hate anything exclusive within esports. Like that's just the basis of esports. It's that it's non-exclusive and it's inclusive, and I love. You should just make your own tournament with that title.
And if I'm thinking about like past AJ, like if if I were growing up in the times of now where I could go to high school and I could be a part of an esports program or go to college and be a part of a team, like what are the things that I would want to see? What are the things that I would look out for in a program and like want to be able to participate in? I think that language would probably be what would draw me in the most, because it sets me apart from it sets me apart from the team photos that I see on social media where it's an esports roster that's sitting in the bleachers of their basketball facility where it's one color and one gender. Like, I'm not going to feel comfortable wanting to get involved within that program, but if I hear that language, if I see that within their program, that's going to be the program that I would want to be a part of, because then it also doesn't like women's only. That also doesn't it that also feels like that also almost feels like I'm gatekeeping myself in a way. And that's my space, and like that's the only space that I have. It almost kind of that phrasing almost kind of feels that way to me. So I would prefer to have that language that you used right there. That would be something that I would look for.
If I had a student come to me and say that they weren't comfortable playing with a certain gender and that they asked me to help them create a team of one gender, I 100% would. Like, just so that they had people to play with and that they would be able to participate.
I think a lot of times the fear of are my issues going to be taken seriously is a big factor in whether or not people feel comfortable. Like year one, I don't remember exactly where, but one of my female players told her teammate, and he told me that apparently another coach said something about like, are you on staff, or like, oh, you're a gamer, and kind of like you're one of the you game, and like it was kind of he made like one of the faces, where she felt, because she didn't know how to respond. And so it's not her fault that she didn't know how to respond to that scenario. And of course, I was angry, and I, reacted, and things worked out. But the point is I think a lot of times, we talked about this in the past, is like representation matters. And I've had several of my students come up to me and say, if you were a white male, I would not be here. That's just facts. Like, if you weren't, I would not feel comfortable talking to you, being a part of it, because I feel like I wouldn't be taken seriously. And I have been very clear in my, in my time as to, any comments that are, over the line or anything at all just shouldn't happen. But especially regarding, gender or underrepresented parties, that's especially when you have an opportunity of how do you react and how do you teach people to react? Because I don't think it's a fault of these communities or these, marginalized people to have to react perfectly and know exactly how to respond when somebody, says something sexist or homophobic. Like, it's not on them to respond appropriately, for lack of a better word, right? Like, if you're just sitting there speechless and you're like, I don't know what to say to this. Like, so a lot of times I think we say, oh, well, here's how to respond in that scenario. And I do think that that's important. If they feel like they have a way that they're comfortable responding, then that might give them more comfort. But it shouldn't even be happening in the first place, right? People shouldn't even be making those comments. But the point is in addition to representation, if they feel I have an out, or I have a way that I feel my concern or my experience will be listened to, validated, go down the list, then maybe that helps with those scenarios where they don't feel comfortable, or they might not feel comfortable. And yeah, again, it shouldn't happen, but maybe that's at least a solution until the landscape continues to change. And it's still there. I had a comment the other day of, oh, well, we all know why we're losing. And it's, the situation of, oh, we have, a girl trying to do something that's out of her capacity. And it's like, okay.
On your team?
No, just in personal.
Oh. If I had a player say that, I'd automatically, there's no second chances for that.
I know. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's, yep.
I still have a hard time with how, like you were mentioning, how do you respond to the look that you get, or the comments that you get when somebody is aghast or like taken aback that you do esports? Like I've been
I just
the
respond.
collegiate thing for a while, and like it is still difficult for me to like be able to just like, the thing that I want to say is like, yes, that's my job, that's what I do, that's what I'm passionate about. I don't know why I have to sit here and like, it almost feels like I have to defend myself, and like I shouldn't have to feel like I have to defend myself. So I still haven't found the perfect line between like, I don't want to mansplain to anybody. I don't want to beat somebody down because like they gave me the side eye the wrong way, but I also don't want to have to deal with it anymore.
And then you get the questions of how many female directors are there? Or, you get those
always the follow-up. You must be the only one.
Yeah, and it's like,
no.
I think sometimes those questions come out of, like, not a place of negativity, but it's so hard to tell, Like, it's just, how do we deduce when people are trying to be, whatever, and when they're not? Because honestly, the amount of times that people have said that, and I've gotten sass of like, oh, she's just being sensitive, or, being bitchy, or, why are you so, like, aggressive? When it's like, oh, all right, that's...
Oh my god. Somebody, the first time that I ever met them, and it was actually another college director, the first time that I ever met them, the first sentence that they ever said to me, and it was a male in the space, and I had never talked to this person before, and me being the person that I am, I'm generally cheery and possibly high energy. Folks may say that about me. So came in the chat, "Hey, I'm AJ, it's great to meet you." First sentence, not a hello, not a nice to meet you. Wow, you come off really aggressive. Could you imagine if that person said that to a man? Would that person ever say that to a man?
No.
I think I was very much shielded from some of this coming in because I think I gravitated towards Jackie. And maybe it's just my personalities. They're afraid of me. I don't know. I'm fine with that.
I wouldn't with you.
Yeah, that's fine because I have been known to giving adults men some lectures.
Direct constructive criticism. That's what you give them.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but you're being very aggressive, Danielle, when you do that. So
good. Somebody needs to be aggressive. Because you're doing dumb shit.
You're being assertive, which is...
That's fine. Different. You know who gets shit done? You know who gets shit done? Assertive people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're worried that I'm assertive, if you're offended by me, I made it through 37 years of my life, and I have not dulled myself for anyone, and I will not start now. So carry on, my wayward son.
I think that's why I like our group so much, though, because it started off as us just kind of chatting. We like Danielle and I just talk nonstop venting, and then bringing everyone else in and building the community that we have. I think that's where the safe space is that you have the opportunity to reach out to someone. If it's not in our general Discord, you can reach out to someone else and just personally vent to them. They're not going to judge you for venting or for you're having a horrible day and I mean, I've cried so many times because of what someone has said to me, but that's just my own personality. And I hate the saying you need to have tougher skin or you need to have thick skin. It's like, well, I don't. So I'm working through it. But that's what I like about the community that we're growing is that it's a safe space to talk about these things.
But I think it depends, again, that phrase on that context is like, you know, a lot of people in this day and age are that, and I see this because I play HOTS, and I see this when I play HOTS, and I'm like, I know who the League of Legends players are. You want to know why? Because immediately after 2 people die, they go, why can't we forfeit? I need the FF button. I'm done. This game's over. Immediately, within like 5 minutes. And it's like, they can't handle a moment of adversity or even think, okay, what's our win con, right? It's always this game's over. Or there's nothing positive that they can say. And so the difference between that and walking into or getting into a lobby and someone saying, oh great, we have a woman on our team, GG easy, we're done. Like, there's no thicker skin needed to deal with that, because that just shouldn't happen under any scenario, because there's zero proof that it would have any impact. And even if it did have impact, it doesn't matter, because there's no way it would actually have impact.
I mean, I use the example, and Jackie knows this, and I think you've all heard this, and I've probably used it on stream, is that I was being attacked in a COD lobby. God love COD. And I was the top of the leaderboard, and this person just kept going at me, and I just let him go, and finally I was like, are you done? And they're like, well, yeah, I guess. And I'm like, okay, so do you have a minute? And they were like, well, yeah, we're in between rounds. And I was like, okay. I'm going to spell my name for you. And I had him Google me. And Google me, if you really want to know. This comes up as your top Google search. There's only one Danielle Sarikas in the world. Fun fact, which is fun. That's right. But I shouldn't have to do that. And people shouldn't have to do that. I just happen to have a decent flex. But you know, it's unfortunate that that's the mentality that we've created.
Mentality.
Yeah, did you do that on purpose? Because
I know, I was like, dang, that was like actually hilarious.
No, I did. I promise I did it. Mentality.
No, take it. It's yours now.
All right, I'll take my win. I did mean to do it. Man. So before, I mean, we can get deeper in a conversation, but I just want to promote AJ is going to exit the call immediately after we're done. And she's going to go speak on a panel, right? Remote, obviously, because you can't get there right now.
Yeah, I will not be flying to Florida in the next hour. That's not physically possible. So it's 7 Central, 8 Eastern. I will be in UCF Esports Discord server talking about team management in esports. So I'll have to put my director hat back on and relive those days.
Your favorite thing to do, boo.
Yeah, and I'm kind of out of practice, so I'm curious to see like how dated some of my views and practices are.
Oh, they're not dated.
No, and it's like riding a bike. It'll all come back to you.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
And you listen to us
been
too.
10 years.
I don't know, like
it's been 10 years.
I see some of like the cool things that like people do on social media, and like what the cool events that they do, and like these cool other stuff that they do, and I'm like, man, like I didn't even think about doing that. Like when I had a program, like that thought, that project, that idea, like never crossed my mind. So everybody is getting very creative nowadays.
That's wonderful. Again, sunshine and rainbows on social media. Don't forget our frustrations that we all have. You're forgetting the frustration part of it.
That is
You're
true.
forgetting the burnout part of it. You're forgetting the never-ending DMs, which you still get, but you're forgetting at least they're semi-grown up from, they're supposed to be grown-ups that are DMing you. So, like, you're forgetting all the shitty parts about this job. I love this job.
On Monday, hey, I see on the schedule that we don't have a game today. So I was wondering if we had a game today.
I thought I played yesterday until
I did that on
our
Monday
TikTok
too.
Manager was like, "There's nothing on the schedule for today." I'm like, "Nah, there is." And I go and look.
Yeah.
And then I went and looked at the rule book.
Yeah.
I went and looked at the rule book because that's where you go first is you look. I went to where the
bad
resources.
spot.
And that's where it was. And I'm like, nope.
Yeah, but there's a difference between, hey, I thought we were supposed to, or we normally do, and it's not there, like, just want to clarify, and, like, someone sending out a message saying, hey, we don't play today, or, like, you know, everything's up to date, and then, you know, you get a DM where it's like, hey, I clearly didn't read your thingy. Do you know how many? I've had 2 students explicitly tell me, when you send out an announcement, I don't read it. I, like, read some of it, and I'm like, that's exactly what needs to not happen. Like,
Yeah.
ever. And they've gotten better about it, and I have reduced the number of DMs. I showed Danielle at LAN here's the breakdown of what you need to do before you DM me. And I'm not talking like, you know, hey, I have a serious concern, right? Like, this isn't that kind of issue, right? This is like a question that's, you really have 8 million other places you can look for this information. Do the work. You know? That's like the student being like, do you have this major? Like, it's kind of infuriating sometimes because it's like, maybe if you used, hold on, Google, and you said www.mt.edu, and you looked at undergraduate majors, and you said, oh, they do. Or if you clarified something that, like, you know, or hey, I looked on the website, I couldn't find it. Even if you're totally lying, like, you make yourself look so bad.
I think it's a generation thing, though. I think
God,
it
it's
is.
awful. That
It
needs to
is, and
stop.
I don't. When I get students that ask me that, I'm like, you can go look on our website. I won't look up someone's thing unless they're part of my program and they actually need help, because they haven't found it. But if you're reaching out, it's like just do a Google search. Look on our website. That's what it's there for. Reach out to.
Yeah, I have channels. I have channels in my Discord. Like helpful info. It's a full channel. It has NACE's rules. It has Wax Handbook. It has NACE's schedule. It has our Google Calendar schedule. It has all of these things.
That's
and
beautiful.
they still manage to not look in that channel. And that's how I'm the one who caused
But I need
chaos
you to DM
yesterday.
me. I need you to DM me the question that is very clearly in the schedule and outlined.
Yeah, I wanted to share a blonde moment this week in case anyone didn't know, the whole week. So we figured out that I can just close DMs. So like, and the conversation's all still there.
I'm in like half of those. Like all of a sudden, I just see Danielle's leaving all of them. Like she's just
Left,
getting.
left,
Yeah,
left,
I
left,
swear,
left.
I'm just getting all these notifications. I'm like, and then you messaged one today, and I'm like, where did this DM even come from? From
Bye.
2021. 2021. That's how
Goodbye.
old it was.
The bottom of my list. Scroll to the bottom of your list and look. I'm sure you got DMs. Clearly, everybody was still in that channel. Or in that DM. So I was just like, bye. I'm done. So I don't mean groups. You can't rejoin groups after you exit. But if, like, for instance, I close your DM, Jackie, our entire history of conversation is still there.
Yeah.
So I was always not closing the conversation because I'd lose track of where we were at in the conversation because I thought it was like text where you deleted it. So yeah, I feel real special this week.
Oh, dang.
I mean, it's a lot of
what's going on with
functionality.
her?
of that.
Did you not know that, AJ?
No, I did. I'm just a little surprised that you didn't.
She left like everything. I swear I got like
I'm still
8.
in the process of leaving everything.
And we're in a lot of like groups together and that aren't active at all. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll leave this one. Oh, okay. I just go after. I'm like, I'm gonna leave this one. Okay, I'm gonna bring up something else. So event wise with AJ, she's doing her online one after this. We are looking to host roundtables. So if you know of anyone that is looking to host a collegiate roundtable, specifically on marginalized voices, we would love to host it for you. You can reach out to us at esportsandcoffee@gmail.com. Reach out to us on Discord. But we are looking to come to you and provide that roundtable. And what's great about it is that in-person conversations are a lot different than online virtual ones. and our last one in Vegas was very successful. At least I think it was. Just being able to talk to people, and some of the stuff wasn't even about what we had topics for. People just wanted to talk in general.
And AJ's going to clip this, and we're going to retweet it.
Yes.
You're there for me.
I can't see anything, so that's why it's so black, because I have Discord up here and OBS right here, and I have no light source.
I've literally never had Google
You don't need a
Fiber
light source when you
fail.
have the ladies of esports and coffee, just saying.
You have Google Fiber?
And she failed. That's the first time in 4 years that I've had Google Fiber just fail on me.
Well, it
You
could
need
be
To be fair,
worse.
that's pretty good.
I mean, at
You
least
need-
your internet provider tells you. Like, this is the first text I've gotten from mine saying you may experience outages when, like, 3 to 4 years ago, I had at least probably 3 to 4 outages every, like, 2 weeks. And they just wouldn't say anything. And I was, like, in the middle of something. And then I called them and they're like, and I'm like, have you tried communicating that saying, hey, you may experience outages, because I'd rather say that and then not have an outage than you just not tell me and then have an outage. So
Yeah, they also refund me too. There apparently was like an outage in my area like last week, and they gave me like $1 for like the amount of time that like I was
wow.
out of internet. They're like, we're gonna issue you $1. I'm like, hell yes.
Every little bit counts. That's a discount.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. That's $1. You can't buy a Coke anymore, but you could have back in the day. So, maybe just put it in a piggy bank jar, or just, yeah. But serious about, we're going to retweet the roundtables, because I think that as a group, we could reach a bigger audience. We have some amazing voices in this group. We also have some amazing voices in the Discord. So don't forget to join the Discord. Don't forget to join the socials. Don't forget to share this. Don't forget to share that we're on YouTube for all the people who didn't tune in here, and the 5 people watching, which I think 4 of them are us. So I think the other person is Jacob. So yes, through and through, the supporter till the end.
Eugene was in here for a while.
Eugene was?
Yeah. Okay, so coming up.
We probably lost a lot of people when my internet took a dump.
That's okay. So next week, or not next week, in 2 weeks, bi-week schedule, we have younger generation girls who game in esports aspirations. I'm really excited for this one because I'm passionate about the younger generation. I think all of us are. And I think we can have some exciting things to talk about. That's in March. March is such a busy
Yay.
month.
Oh, it is.
We also keep an eye out for some exciting news to come.
Always.
And that's all we can share. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Aren't we supposed to say something? AJ?
Yeah.
Oh,
Are we all out of coffee? Except have a little bit, but we're all out of coffee and tea.
Oh, wait. Do I
thanks
have
for
to do
tuning.
this?
Yeah.